Hai semua, hi everyone. Apa khabar? How are you doing? It's me Zarina, your Malay language trainer from Malaysia. If you are new to the channel, welcome to Conversational Malay lesson from ilearnmalay. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share and hit that like button. Your support will motivate me to produce more quality content like this. Terima kasih. Today, we will learn a very useful Malay word, boleh, boleh. Before we proceed, let's go through what will we learn in this lesson. First, we will study the meaning of boleh. Then, I will list out a few words derived from boleh, after attaching prefix or suffix or both of them to boleh. Then we will study how boleh is used with a verb with some examples. And lastly, boleh with adjective together with some examples. Boleh has a few meanings in English. It could mean can, could, to be able to allow, to enable, allowed, enabled, ability. Boleh is a very useful word, and I think it is very essential for you to learn this word, especially if you want to ask for permission to do something or ask a favor from someone. Let's move on to the next discussion when new words are derived by attaching the prefix or suffix to the word boleh. Actually, we have not discussed anything in detail about prefix and suffix in Malay language in any of the previous lessons. Starting with today's lesson, I will gradually teach them to you bit by bit in every lesson, so you will not feel too overwhelmed. Be aware that these derivative words of boleh are less frequently used in colloquial speech. You will see them being used in the literature or in a formal context, like in the newspapers, news broadcasts, formal conference, and etc. The first derivative is membolehkan. Membolehkan. It means to allow, to enable, to permit, to be possible. As seen here, the prefix mem and the suffix kan are attached to the word boleh. Let's see an example in a sentence where the word membolehkan is used. Kepakaran bercakap dalam bahasa Melayu membolehkan dia mengenal budaya Malaysia dengan lebih baik. Expertise in speaking Malay enables him to know Malaysian culture better. The second derivative is dibolehkan. Dibolehkan. It means allowed. As seen here, the prefix di and the suffix kan are attached to the word boleh, making boleh to become passive. An example is this sentence. Mereka dibolehkan berehat 5 minit sahaja. Mereka dibolehkan berehat 5 minit sahaja. They are allowed to rest for 5 minutes only. The final and the third derivative is kebolehan. Kebolehan. It means ability. As seen here, the prefix ke and the suffix an are attached to the word boleh. A sample phrase is kebolehan memandu. Kebolehan memandu. It means ability to drive. If you have the time, you could just Google these three derivatives and you could see how the word is used in the sentence from any of the pages listed in your Google search. For example, if you know the site name like astroawani.com and then type the derived word from boleh, and in this case, membolehkan. So you will see the findings listed down below. The word membolehkan will be highlighted in your search as seen in any of the sites here. I will click on this link of the JDT, a football club from my region, Johor, You could see the example here. If not, just click Ctrl F if you are using Windows and type membolehkan. Highlight this sentence and you could go to Google Translate to get the rough meaning of the sentence. Here, membolehkan means to enable. Use this method if you want to know how a derived Malay word using prefix and suffix is used in a real-life example. And in this case is the online news. Let's move on to the next section. Next is when boleh is used with a verb. For a list of most useful 100 Malay verbs, you could check this lesson by clicking the link above. Let's see a few examples with some verbs that we already learned from the lesson earlier. The first verb is makan. Makan, meaning to eat. Remember that I told you that the word boleh is very useful when you use it to ask for a favor or for permission, right? Let's see how we use it to ask for a permission to do something. Imagine that you are invited to a dinner and you are not sure if you're allowed to eat the food in front of you when nobody is eating it yet. So you ask the host's permission. Boleh saya makan ni? Boleh saya makan ni? Can I eat this? Boleh means can. Saya means I. Makan is to eat. And ni is the short form of ini. It means this. This sentence pattern is very useful if you want to ask for permission and you use the word ni or ini pointing to the thing that you want. More so if you don't even know the name of the thing. Point to the thing and just ask, boleh saya makan ni? Boleh saya makan ni? For those of you who haven't studied the Malay demonstrative pronoun lesson of ini and itu, click the link above for the lesson. In place of the verb makan, we could replace it with any other verbs, for example, from the previous verb lesson. Boleh saya buat ni? Boleh saya buat ni? Can I do this? Boleh saya guna ni? Boleh saya guna ni? Can I use this? Boleh saya pegang ni? Boleh saya pegang ni? Can I hold this? The next example is using the word sini to mean here for location. Boleh saya duduk sini? Boleh saya duduk sini? Can I sit here? Boleh saya letak sana? Boleh saya letak sana? Can I put it there? The second most common way to use boleh is to ask for a favor. How do we use boleh in this situation? For example, if you want to ask for help from someone, you say, boleh tolong saya? Boleh tolong saya? Can you help me? As you can see that the second person pronoun is not said in the sentence. Unlike in English, you should put the pronoun you to complete the sentence. But in conversational Malay, it sounds more natural to drop the pronoun in this context. Don't worry, you still sound polite even without addressing the person you talk with. There are many other ways to say these sentences in Malay, but for beginners, in my opinion, it is enough that you know this pattern first. Once you are more familiar with Malay speech, you will be able to see how Malays put more interjections in their sentences in different contexts and with different nuances. Let's see more examples of sentences asking for a favor. Boleh bagi diskaun? Boleh bagi diskaun? Can you give discount? Or you can add saya after the verb bagi. Boleh bagi saya diskaun? But I prefer to drop saya because the context is understood by the second person, and in this case is the seller. Next example is when the suffix kan is attached to the verb. Boleh bukakan pintu? Boleh bukakan pintu? Can you open the door? note that after the verb buka, there is a suffix kan. Of course, you could just say, boleh buka pintu, boleh buka pintu. But you should be careful with your tone. If you say it with a rough tone, it will sound more like a command instead of asking for a favor. That is why I prefer to attach kan with the verb buka. It makes the sentence sound gentler because you are asking for a favor. How do you know when to add or not to add the suffix kan to the verb? I would say if you ask for a favor, permission, generally you could add the suffix kan with the verb. But some verbs sounds better without kan. Do not worry too much, you will learn this by experience. And I will explain more about the suffix kan in detail in another lesson with more examples for you to see the differences. The next example is boleh bayarkan untuk saya, boleh bayarkan untuk saya. Can you pay for me? Of course, you will hear some Malay people do not attach the suffix kan to the verb, like boleh bayar untuk saya, boleh bayar untuk saya, and this is not wrong at all, just the style preferred by the individual, and for me, I myself prefer to add kan to sound a bit gentle, and again, be careful with your tone if you prefer to use the sentence without kan attached to the verb. Now, let's see the last section, when boleh is used with the adjective. If you haven't studied any of the adjectives yet, I recommend that you go to this lesson to study the 100 must-know Malay adjectives by clicking the link above. Let's see the first example. Boleh cantikkan lagi? Boleh cantikkan lagi? Can you make it prettier? This pattern is boleh plus the adjective cantik plus the suffix kan and the word lagi. This is used as a suggestion or a request to improve on something which has been done previously. For example, imagine you hire someone to design the interior of your house and you feel that the design is not up to your expectation. So you could say, boleh cantikkan lagi? Boleh cantikkan lagi? Can you make it prettier? Some more examples with this pattern. Boleh besarkan lagi? Boleh besarkan lagi? Can you make it bigger? Boleh murahkan lagi? Boleh murahkan lagi? Can you make it cheaper? Boleh gelapkan lagi? Boleh gelapkan lagi? Can you make it darker? This pattern is very useful with the adjectives that we have learned before. Take any adjective and add the suffix kan, and you will be good with the meaning to improve the state of something. What do you think of the lesson today? Complicated? Hard? Difficult? If you think you still cannot grasp it, try to repeat the lesson. Awak boleh. You can. And if you still don't understand the lesson, send me some comments down below. That will be all for today. Before we end this lesson, I would appreciate so much if you could just share and like the video. And for those who haven't subscribed, please do so. You will be notified when new videos are uploaded. Terima kasih sangat-sangat. Thank you so much for always supporting iLearnMalay channel. Until next time, Zarina is signing off. Sampai jumpa lagi.